Thank you, Dr. Nowak. I'm Bridget, and this is Andy, and we want to wish you a Tashi Delek. That is Tibetan for hello, how are you? Tashi Delek.
Tashi Delek.
And we're very, very happy to be here tonight to share this peaceful evening of goodwill with you. And we'll start with a short introduction about a ancient healing practice. It is called Chöd, and it originated in Tibet from a Tibetan woman. And then we will, that will lead us into a short CD presentation, probably about 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes until we've used our time up. And it starts with a recitation of the Tibetan lineage, and then it leads into the music that is played by Tibetan nuns with, and I'm going to let Andy finish this.
Yes, the two main instruments that they use is, the one is called a chud drum, and it's about this big. It has tassels that the beaters are actually attached by strings, and it's played by rotating slowly and swinging the strings around so they strike the double heads of the drum. And similar to a damaru, which is a much smaller version of that drum. So the man known as the Buddha taught in India for 45 years following his enlightenment and passed away 500 years before Christ. Approximately 1,500 years later, at the height of Buddhist cultural development in India, a Tibetan emperor initiated the process of transmitting the Dharma, the teachings and practices of the Buddha, to Tibet. Even with state endorsement, this systematic process took several centuries. Unique among Buddhist cultures, the Tibetans successfully accomplished the transmission of the full range of Buddhist practices to Tibet. This process was effected by Tibetan scholars making the hazardous journey across the Himalayas to search out and learn from Indian teachers. Additionally, great Indian masters traveled to Tibet. So the practice of what is termed Tibetan Buddhism originated in India, but there is one great exception, and that is Chöd. Chöd means to cut and refers to cutting our attachments to one's body. Buddha's first teaching, given in the deer park at Sarnath 7 weeks after his great enlightenment, identified clinging to a false idea of ourself as the cause of suffering. A mind dominated by clinging generates self-deception and consequently suffers.
And most people cling most strongly to their body. Chöd is a method to cut this basic attachment. The Chöd practice spans both the ordinary and extraordinary Mahayana, which is the path to Buddhahood of vast love and compassion. Chöd originated with a Tibetan woman, Machik Labdron. Reversing the general pattern, Indian gurus traveled to Tibet to receive the Chöd teaching and practice from her. Chöd was a tradition maintained outside of the monastic system, upheld by wandering male and female practitioners. It is a healing practice and would be done in areas of epidemics and in charnel grounds. One generates fear in order to penetrate into emptiness of the body and thereby discover the unreality of fear. The haunting melodies and words have healing power and are methods to realize the actual state of things beyond suffering. This recording is of contemporary Tibetan nuns practicing Chöd. Their songs accompanied by thigh bone trumpets and handheld drums in unison are sung simultaneously with visualization. We will play only part of the recording as it takes longer than the time permitted this evening.
Okay. So this first part, introductory, is a recitation of the lineage of Chöd. In other words, the practice was passed down from one teacher to the next. And in many practices, that's the first thing that makes up the practice, is the recitation of the lineage that created that practice. So bear with us. The first part starts out slow, but then it gains some momentum. goes on for quite a bit after that. I wish we had more time, but I think you get the idea. I wish we could have a live performance, but I don't know where we'd get the 50 or 60 nuns and monks that it takes to perform it. So, thank you very much.
Hashi Delay.
Hashi Delay.